access to no.
Hello, Amrita ji, and welcome to all our viewers from FSN and the others who are watching us and who have joined us today. And as you all know, हम लोग काफी time से we've been trying during the pandemic to have as many variety of programs as we can. And we have such wonderful people, talented people amongst us, Amrita ji being one of them. And this is a very different topic which we have always wanted to have, but because of the weather, you know, we are not able to have it. We can't have plants, all the flowers all the time. And this time, Amrita ji was thankfully, because of the pandemic, Amrita ji, you were available
Yes.
also.
Right.
And all of us being at home, I thought it was a very good opportunity for us to, you know, just pick up a few branches and things. And you're so good at it to tell us how to arrange and make our homes beautiful. At this point, I'm told that we have the Japanese ambassador's wife also who has joined us. So we welcome her also to the show and hope she enjoys doing this with us. Now about Amrita ji, there's so many credits to her that I would not be able to tell all of them. So of course I would ask Amrita ji to speak a few words about her association with O'Hara and Ikebana. But a little bit which I got very impressed with was the fact that she was the founder president for 10 years of Delhi chapter of O'Hara School of Ikebana. And what impressed me most when I was speaking to her, she told me that she has done Ikebana arrangements for cancer patients, children, cancer patients who were children, and also for senior citizens as a therapy for them. So this makes it an added opportunity for us, you know, to do things in a very positive way for everybody who's disabled or not disabled. To please say a few words about herself because there's so many credits I cannot remember them all. So over to Amrita ji.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Manju and the FSN family, Deepa, Satish, Mathur sir, for inviting me and having me this afternoon for the session for floriculture. You really opened the doors for us for learning during the pandemic. Every alternate week, we are learning something new, something interesting. And I think many of us have got rejuvenated and reinterested into gardening. So, as I go along, I will talk a little about myself and also do the arrangements. As Manju rightly said that this is the right time when it's been raining. We've got lots of greens, lots of flowers, which are local, not all cultivated flowers. And we can use them and make our houses more welcoming than they already are. Let me also take this opportunity of thanking Mrs. Madam Chikage Suzuki for joining us this afternoon. She has a very busy schedule despite being at home and doing many things over the net and otherwise. So thank you very much, Chikage-san, for being with us this afternoon. Now, today's program, what I called it was Bridging the Gap. Why do I call it Bridging the Gap? Because with the pandemic, we are now using technology to bring us all closer together. Till now, we attended live demonstrations, live talks, live garden walks, live visits to the nursery, which have all been stopped because of the current crisis. But it has opened new doors for all of us. And even some of us who are not used to the idea of working on Zoom, working on television, working on the net, are all learning, and not just learning, becoming quite tech savvy. So I thought this was such a golden opportunity for all of us to exchange our ideas, exchange our thought processes, do our learning, while we are also staying at home. So I start with, this is the time when you also are laying a lot of emphasis on recycling. So my first arrangement is going to be a box which is being covered with a pink colored fabric. As you see, it's a box. And what I'm arranging in this is something to show that all of us start all on our own. And then slowly we find that we become part of a family, part of a school group, part of an office group. And these things all add to our personality and our growing up. So my first arrangement is using this pink oriental lily, and I decided pink because of the pink color in this. Now there are 3 buds. I could leave them all. I'm going to use the whole lily as it is. The open one shows the mature flower. This is still to open and this is a closed bud. But this shows also the way we all are living. When we are all on our own and slowly as we join into the family, it keeps increasing. So what I'm also doing with this is using kevra leaves. Kevra, as you all know, the leaves have got tiny horns at the end. But they have a certain flow to them, which make it very, very interesting and gives the arrangement a little character. I'll just turn this around a bit. So this is my recycled vase with the first arrangement, which actually denotes all of us when we are in this pandemic all by ourselves. But then my second arrangement,
Amrita ji, what was that white flower that you used?
that was a dry fern, a dry bleached fern.
Okay.
Now in this, what I'm doing is, it's a bleached fern, Deepa.
Okay, thank you.
Now in this, what I have done is, this is bringing us together. So I've used the fishtail palm berries, and I'm going to use this asparagus, which actually comes out in the monsoon. And in a couple of weeks' time, it will be full of white flowers, red berries, and that will be the end of that season. So this is the fern. Now the whole idea of this arrangement is that Zoom and technology is linking us together. It doesn't matter from where we are, but we are all linked together with this. And I'm using Exora flowers to highlight the arrangement. and some tuberoses, because when we meet and we interact, we spread friendship and fragrance. So the tuberose is being used specially for that. Now this is the second arrangement that I've done, mainly to show how through Zoom we got linked together. Yes? Zoom has not only connected us, but it is spreading the joy of learning of many arts. You have virtual conferences, you have offices, people are working in this. Through the Zoom, they are having their meetings. And it's amazing the way Zoom has overtaken our lives. The webinars, the Zoom, all the virtual meetings, everyone is using this. It requires a lot of learning. So now my third arrangement, what I'm using, the third arrangement that I'm using is to show that despite all the problems that we are going through, we are going to be learning to stay calm, be at peace with ourselves. We don't have to panic just because we have this pandemic and don't know how to deal with ourselves or our problems. We are in it together. So if we are in it together, we can definitely handle it much better. And I'm sure most of you would agree to that. Now what I'm using here is the variegated rubber plant. The color of this plant gives us a lot of, inner peace, inner vitality. The green, the yellow, it's a very soothing color for all of us. And I think at times like this, we need to use something which is soothing for our mind. Now, one thing I would like to tell all our flower lovers, that when you cut a material, you have to look after it. You can't just cut it and plant it, put it in the vase. You must cut it in water. Why? Because it seals the edges, and then when you plant, put it in the vase, it sort of helps it stay longer. Now I'm using the Largostromia, the common Largostromia that we all have seen on the roadside. I've tried to use as many common materials and flowers and leaves that people can lay their hands on, so that you don't feel that it can only be done with bought flowers. You can do this with flowers which are thrown around you, as long as you are careful by cutting them early in the morning or late in the evening. Please don't cut once the sun is out, because no flower likes to be cut when the sun is direct overhead and it cannot take that heat. So it just withers and dies before you even know that you could have used it better. Now there were many restrictions. because of the restrictions, many of us were not just housebound, but if you're living in an apartment, you cannot move out. If you're in a house, you've got elders, you cannot go anywhere. And you know, everything, like initially when the lockdown happened, we were all extremely nervous. We all thought, God knows what is this going to happen? How are we going to deal with it?
So tell them it's finished.
Okay, this one
Amrita
is
ji,
over. Now I start with the next one.
Amrita ji, before you remove this arrangement, people want to know what is the brown pieces that you've used?
It's a berry from a tree, Manju. I'm trying to find the name of it. Once I get the name, I will send it on our group. It was given by a friend from Chennai.
Okay.
And it grows on a tree. So there's obviously fruit inside and it's red in color. When it dries, it becomes brown like this.
Okay.
So, but I'm not sure if it is an edible fruit.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I must tell you, people are envying the containers, all right.
Now this mushroom that I'm using was something that I found growing in our complex under one of the trees. So when I go for a walk, I saw this there and I eyed it, and then I told the driver, I said, "Dekho, us ped ke niche there is this big mushroom, go cut it and bring it." So he went, he saw it, he brought it, then he told me, "Madam, वो तो बहुत भारी था." I said, "हाँ, भारी तो था, लेकिन जब सूखेगा तो हल्का हो जाएगा," which is really what has happened. Because
Could you just
it is,
turn the mushroom towards the, yeah, that's lovely.
yeah.
Okay, 1 minute, let's take a photograph. Vivek, take a photograph, please. Okay,
I
thank you.
hope, Deepa, I
Anji.
hope this is being recorded.
Yes, ma'am.
You want a lazy Susan? So that you can, no. Then mine
Now, what I've done is I've used this big leaves to complement the mushroom. Because see, the mushroom is huge. And as you can see, it's a big mushroom. And you know, when the driver went to cut it, he was asked by one of the boys, housekeeping staff here. They said, "Tumko kaise pata chala ye yahan ped ke niche?" So he says, "Nahi, ye to hamari madam ne dekh ke bola." I said, "Okay. What are you going to do with it?" So he says, "I have no idea." He says, "Arey, you don't know, this has medicinal value and it can really be used for many different kinds of diseases. But personally, I've never heard of it being used like that. So I'm not sure whether what he said was actually right or he was fibbing." So, but whatever it was, you know, I don't think he would have used it for anything because it had been there for some time. But I thought this was a good opportunity for me to use it. And then I dried it and it's become light. So I showed it to my driver. I said, "You had brought this. Now you pick it up and see how light it is." So he said, "हाँ, बात तो सही है आपकी, तो बहुत हल्का हो गया." Because it's a big mushroom and these leaves are large to complement it, I decided to use vibrant yellow lilies to bring out the colors of the mushroom and the leaves. So this arrangement again is to show our own strength of mind. Because if you are strong, you can handle any kind of problem. And it doesn't matter whether you are in lockdown or you are moving around or whatever. You can interact through Zoom with family, with friends, with schools, with offices. But at times you are depressed, you wonder till when this is going to continue. So I thought, let me also weave in these thoughts into my arrangements. Now I'll move this. I'll show you. Now what I've brought in front is something to show how we are linked together through this pandemic. So it's an arrangement. There are little baskets like this, which I have kept. And I have linked two of them with the fluorescent from the palm, Erica palm. So I've linked it with that. So, and I have placed it on something which is actually a cheese board, but I'm using it for this arrangement because that was the only way I could have placed all of them, giving them.
You got these little
distance.
plastic containers inside, is it?
Yeah, because I must have water for the flowers. So at one end I have a bamboo container, sliced bamboo, and I didn't have an equally small one, so I've used a old plastic container for that.
Okay. Yeah, because
Now the flowers in this that I'm using are Exora, the pink Exora.
I hope that in case we have an actual physical flower show next year, many of our members watching this would also like to participate in the flower arrangement segment of
I
the
hope
show.
they
you
do.
know?
It would really be very nice if they did.
Yeah.
And I know the way they grow their plants, it's amazing. Such beautiful gardens and flowers that are shown all the time. It's an absolute delight. You know what's interesting? From this pandemic, we realize that because of it, we have had very little traffic on the road. Since there's no traffic, the plants are doing very well. There's less pollution. There are many more birds everywhere. So on the whole, if we only look at the positives, I think we human beings have gained from the lockdown, rather than keep saying that wish things were different and wish we could move around. But if we look at all the positives, we find that we really have gained a lot. You
Have you
see
got
many more
the
birds
bowl?
than you did earlier.
Yeah. Amrita ji, have you got oases in the bowls, water containers, or you got pins?
I've got pins. I avoid using oasis, Deepa. I prefer using pin holders.
Okay.
And in some places, I can just use, you know, the fonts of this fluorescence of Erica palm.
Yeah.
That also acts like a pin holder.
Okay.
So you can just place your things inside it without having to worry.
Mrs. Suzuki's like this arrangement and your concept of using 3 containers. Okay, Joya ji
So
is not
the whole
joining me.
idea of this was that we have got linked together. Again, linked together on a very strong footing of because of this pandemic.
What are the
Otherwise,
white flowers?
chrysanthemums or daisies. इनको ये लोग डेजी कहते हैं, हम इनको छोटे क्रिसैंथेमम कहते हैं. So I have a pool wala here who gives puja ke pool, but when I spoke to him, he said I'll get them for you. So he got me these flowers.
Very nice of him.
So now this is my arrangement, linking us again together because of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Vivek, can we have a photograph, please?
Yes, yes.
Done?
Just a sec. Yes, thank you.
Right, Amrita.
Now what I'm also going to show you is something which is I wrapped it in newspaper so that it doesn't get dried up by the time I need to use it. Do you need this? No, it's not just now. I have tried to use some material which can be replanted instead of just cutting and using for arrangements and then throwing them away. I thought if we can use something which we cut or dig out from our plants and then replant it, it gives us greater joy. So you get happiness while you are doing your arrangement, and you are more gratified and happy when you have planted it and it takes root. Now I'm using corals. These we were lucky enough to pick them up once many years ago before the ban arrived. So I've been saving them, and now I realize that I should use them instead of just storing them. So I'm going to do a kind of seascape using corals as my backdrop. Then there is aloe vera. Now, aloe vera, we all know that you can take it out and you can replant it. So I'm going to use aloe vera. I'm going to use this other succulent. Now, this is of course something that you cannot plant back, but I thought the character of this flower goes very well with this arrangement. So I decided to use this.
This is a variety of plumeria.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use for color, I'm going to use these flowers. These, the more I see these, I'm forgetting the name. Deepa, can you tell me what the name is, please?
Can't see them very clearly. Is it like that shower that is like that?
नहीं.
It's euphorbia.
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 Yeah. There's another common name also for this.
किसमी क्विक बोलते हैं इसको.
मिली है
अमृता
इसका.
जी,
Really?
किसमी क्विक.
So now in this arrangement, as you see, I've used by and large plants that I can put back. And again, we have connected to nature with using corals. So it's a seaside scape, and the corals are there. And the plants which I will put back into soil once I've finished with the arrangement.
Very pretty. Is there anybody who could take the camera a little closer to the arrangement, Amrita ji? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Shall I bring down the name?
No, leave it there. Perfect. I hope everybody can get a clearer view of this, closer view. Perfect. Thank you.
I've asked my daughter to come and help out today. She's with us for a few days, so it's been a big boon. क्योंकि ये सब मेरे बस का काम नहीं.
Thank you.
Is the angle all right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Now, something I wanted to talk about nature. You know, we look at nature and we think everything is perfect. Lines have to grow this way, the tree has to be shaped this way, it has to have branches on all sides, flowers have to be perfect. And sometimes when you walk around and look around, you find that there are many things which are struggling to grow. But it doesn't mean that they're not beautiful. They are very beautiful. But at the same time, they have to make much more effort to grow than the normal flowers do. Why? Because either they don't have enough sunlight for themselves, or they've got crushed between bigger trees, bigger branches, which are sort of pushing it to the side, so it still tries to make its way out. And it's only when you are walking around and you look around you find things like this. Now, the other day, I found this Erica palm. Now, if you have a look at it, the smaller leaf, it's stunted, it cannot grow. The bigger leaf has got a natural curve. Again, it will not grow because it was under all the bushes. So I thought the shape was very interesting, very nice. And there's a beauty in this. The leaves on the top are totally clustered and stuck together. And they're not going to open. If they open, maybe one or two leaves will open and that's it. And the plant would wither away. So I decided to bring it and to show that there is beauty even in this little plant. Now I have a choice. I can either put this or I can put just this, because you don't want to put something which overpowers this particular shape of your plant. Say what it is, if they can't see clearly. This is anar. The flower has fallen off, the little fruit is forming. These are the buds of anar. This is the pink hibiscus. And I also got a red hibiscus bud, which I thought we could put in here. And it will open tomorrow. So this is one. This, of course, the flower is very beautiful, but I think it becomes a little strong for the branch, though it still looks beautiful. And then we could use just this. Now tell me, Deepa, which do you think is the best?
Well, personally, I like the red bud, hibiscus bud, which is yet to open.
Ah,
That look, like you have anticipation also of what's going to happen.
yes.
But then it gives you a multi options, like whatever.
That's why
Yeah.
I use so many different ones.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is to show that even in hardship, you can prosper, you can grow, you can develop and have a personality of your own. So this is,
Daughters finding it funny. Isn't it?
yeah, they're all smiling. They think I'm one mad cat, but that's all right. So this is it.
Are all the arrangements still kept as you
Yes.
made them?
Yes.
Yeah, because at the end of the thing, we could probably, she could take us around them again, give a little comprehensive look of all the arrangements together.
I'll try. They're all placed here, but definitely I'll try to do that.
Yeah, she can just swing the camera
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
If it's
Now what I'm doing is something, because I belong to the O'Hara School of Ikebana. And O'Hara School of Ikebana is a school which uses natural materials in their natural form. And landscape arrangement is one of those which we use, and it's like a signature arrangement of our school. So I thought I couldn't have a whole Ikebana demonstration without really doing anything like a landscape. So now what I'm going to use are two stones. Now something for our readers. When you use ceramic vases, tall vases, crystal vases, please never cut material next to the vase, because you can break your vase. Cut it outside and then place it. If you are putting in heavy objects like this, put either a paper napkin or a piece of paper and then place your stone in it. Stone or pen holder or whatever. Because then that also saves your container. So these are things which you must always remember. Because it can harm your container, and once it's cracked, nothing can help you save it. So as a rule, use either paper, or now you've started getting thin plastic mats. You can place those. And they also do very well to save your container. Now, just this would be like a Zen garden. You put a little sand here and that's it. You don't need anything else. Yes. Now, there's a very interesting history behind the landscape arrangement. In olden days, like when the school started and when this container was made, this is known as the Moribana container. And Moribana, or a flat container, was designed by our teacher, Honohara, one of the headmasters of the school, during the World War. And it was designed mainly because after the World War, when Japan lost, they were really down in the dumps. But the emperor decided that they have to show to the world that they may have lost militarily, but culturally, spiritually, they cannot be killed. So he decided to send masters from various schools, Kabuki, No, Ikebana, Ikenobu, music, tea ceremony. All these masters were requested to go abroad and showcase Japan. So when Mr. Honohara was sent, he kept thinking, he said, how will I show them that we have the spirit? Like just putting flowers in a vase is not enough. You have to do something more than that. So what should we do? So then what was interesting was that they were also the craftsmen to make pottery. They did pottery as well as make arrangements. So he lived in Kyoto, and just behind his house was a hillside where he used to walk often to collect material. And he decided that this was what he should actually show to the people. That Japan, even though we have lost, this is our beauty of nature and our cultural that cannot be taken away. Now, how will he show that? So he decided to make a container which would be flat, in which he could depict the scene of the mountain just behind his house. So when he did that, when he decided to do that, it was considered, something totally new. People weren't sure whether it would be understood, whether it would be appreciated or not. But when he took it to Europe and he showed it to the people there, he soon realized, and they realized, that Japan is not a country which you can just write off. It has so much culture, so much to show. And the pride with which these people were actually showing it, doing the arrangements, showing off their country, was something which was amazing. And this brought about the birth of the landscape arrangement. Now, landscape arrangements are many, but the main one which we all do is the realistic one, because we don't have the material that is used for the traditional ikebana. So we have to use what we actually see in our own garden. So when you're going for a drive, you're in a train, you look out, you see something beautiful. You try and capture that and use it for your arrangement. Now, it could be anything from from a mountainscape, a field, a rice field, seaside visit. Any of those could be shown. And you find that it actually creates a scene that you have, which is embedded in your mind. You have seen it, you've enjoyed it, and you want to capture it. So that is the whole idea of doing a landscape arrangement. That you are capturing something which is in your mind and you want to bring it home and experience the same feeling you had when you actually saw that scene. And for a landscape arrangement, you don't really need much material which has to be bought from the market. You can't really buy it from the market. It is all something that is picked up while you are on the move. Now, another thing to remember always is to see that firstly, the material does not go into water. The leaves don't get into water because that will spoil. The water and your leaves will, the water will start smelling. So what you actually have to do is to see that it is, the stem is in water, but the branches, the leaves and flowers are not going into the water. Then secondly, you must see that your pin holder is always covered. It is not visible. And why we don't use oasis is because oasis, you know, the water evaporates and the material dries up. So as far as possible, we try to use material in a pin holder because then that way you can make the plants live longer. Now, the other idea behind this landscape was that, you know, as I've been talking about the pandemic and what we've been experiencing, the thing is that when you have gone through all these various crises of ill health, bad news, not very encouraging news, then what do? You have to sit and contemplate. Where do you contemplate? Best is near with nature. Because nature is not asking you for anything, it is giving you everything. So when it's not asking you for anything, and just giving, you should take it, enjoy it, appreciate it, and learn to value it. Okay. So this is my landscape arrangement. Can you see it?
Put it in the center.
Yes, Deepa? Have we lost the connection?
No, it's perfect.
Perfect? Okay. Now I'll show you my last arrangement and then we can have a little chit chat.
You put it there at the back.
If it's too heavy, just move it outside.
On the stove.
No, I don't.
Now in this arrangement, what I've done is I've brought different containers. They're actually green tea or sake cups of various sizes. So I brought them all together, and the whole idea being that with the Zoom, we've all got connected from all over the place. So I'm going to do an arrangement which is connecting us with each other. This is a dry flower which I'm using. It was originally purple flowers, the flowers fell, but I found the seeds had taken such, or the stem had taken such a beautiful shape that I decided to hang on to it and use it as long as I can. So I've used it many times, and now I'm also using different kinds of flowers, all to denote different people, all different kinds of people coming from all over the place to join, to be together, and to not feel lost and alone. So the whole idea of this arrangement is that. These are our common flowers, Sada Suhagan or Sada Bahar. The bougainvillea. And it goes round and round just to show how we are all meeting together at one point. None of us are alone. All of us are together in this, and it has brought all of us much closer than we earlier were. Because each one was busy. You can't blame anyone. But at the same time, because of this pandemic, we have realized the value of each other.
Amrita ji, all your arrangements are so thoughtfully placed, so beautiful, simple, and yet they all carry the same message, that we are all not alone in the pandemic era, but we are all connected in spite of all the diversities.
Yes.
So beautifully done. They are all amazing. I cannot say ye best bana. They are all so beautiful.
Thank you, Madhu.
So beautiful. Everybody is fascinated by those copper containers and kettles that you had used, your cheese platter. Everything is so innovative and nice. And the mushrooms are awesome. Yes, I can say the mushrooms are the best. So beautiful. Nobody would think of, picking up and drying them. But you, आपने dry उसको कैसे किया? in the shade only.
I actually sprayed it with a disinfectant because I was very worried about getting it into the house.
Okay.
And I kept it out in the balcony to dry, which is
Alright.
where it dried naturally. And now I have to ask Padmini
Termite
actually
treatment
to
वगैरह भी
tell
किया
me
क्या?
how to preserve it.
Termite and all, you did termite treatment also.
Yes, termites may get at it. So that is why I must preserve it. I do have some smaller mushrooms which are preserved. But this large one, I have to see how to do it. I think I've added enough flowers to get the diversity arrangement.
It's amazing how you managed to
like
connect so
different
many
people from
varieties.
different walks of life all together. See, it's so interesting that this pandemic has not been only for the rich or only for the poor. It's for everyone. And that is something initially it took some time to explain to our helpers that it's not just for them or just us. Because when we said aap log mat aiye, they wondered why we were saying no, was something wrong with them. And then we told them, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It could be with us. So it's to protect you as well that we want you to stay home. And that tended to appeal to them more. Because then they could understand what the thing was. Now this is the last arrangement, bringing us all together.
So beautifully done.
Now I'll just discuss a few points of Ikebana, which we have to all remember. When we are doing an arrangement, whether you are an Ikebana artist or not is not material. But what is definitely material is that when you cut flowers from the garden and place them, you have to remember that there are some flowers which grow in the line form, like a tuberose, a gladuli. Then some are mass, like carnation, dahlias, chrysanthemums. Then you have filler materials, like asparagus, gypsophilia. And you have form material, like anthurium, bird of paradise. So these are different. So when you are arranging anything, you have to decide that you have a line material, you have a mass material, you have a filler material, and you have a form material, which combines to make your arrangement. Always when you are placing the flowers in the vase, watch the face of the flower. Never put a flower looking down. A flower always looks up at the sun. So when you are placing the flower, see that you place it with the flower looking up, not looking down. Because no flower looks down. It only looks down when it's about to die. Then another thing, that when you make even a freestyle arrangement, you must highlight from that vase, then you use that particular form in leaf or flower, something so that it's accentuated. Also, you should try and form a symmetrical triangle. If it's all in a line, it looks flat. So there should be high and low, up and down, movement. The arrangement should be such that if a butterfly sits on one flower, it has place to fly and go into another flower. It doesn't have to struggle to sort of hop like a bee from one flower. It should be able to meander through the flowers. So these are a few things, if we all keep in mind, all of us can make very beautiful and nice arrangements. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was lovely.
Mrs. Suzuki, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure you have enjoyed seeing these arrangements as much as we have. Amrita ji has always been a source of inspiration, when it comes to flower arrangements, and so full of positivity and showing us so much of compatibility in this pandemic times. The topic she chose was really very, very well chosen. And thank you, Amrita ji. It has been so good and everybody's appreciating it. Deepa, how many of us have been connected to this, Abhi?
Today we were 65 and
Deepa?
Amrita, 65 of us, Manju. And
Hello?
Amrita ji, please,
Deepa?
please. Huh?
You want to show the,
How many of
you want
us have
to
been
take the
connected
camera
to
around? I'll just take
We
it
were
around and
65.
show it to you.
Yeah, please do. And Amrita ji, we would like to show the appreciation from the society for conducting such a beautiful webinar today.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just take the camera around.
Yeah, please. Thanks, Vandana.
Welcome.
And Mrs. Mankad has also sent some material regarding a virtual O'Hara exhibition. So I'm going to share that 1 minute.
Can I stop the share now?
Yeah, please, please.
अभी कर दो अभी कर लो
मैं कर रही हूँ.
हाँ दीपा
Okay. Can you
Hello?
see this?
Yeah.
Hello.
yes
Yeah. This,
Yeah.
please make note of this, members who are watching it. This is the exhibition Ikebana being shared by the Ikebana group. And
for 19th of September.
yeah. The time
So
is
we'll
not
share
mentioned.
the
We'll
date.
get the timing and share it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank all of you for organizing this and inviting me for this show. And also a special thanks to Mrs. Suzuki for having attended this. She's leaving for Japan on the 16th. And I think the past 4-5 months she has spent totally in lockdown. And I was very pleasantly surprised when the other day she greeted me in Hindi. So, which means that she's been learning Hindi in the 5 months that there's been this lockdown. Thank you very much. And now I'll take the camera around and show you the arrangement.
Yeah, that would be lovely, Amrita ji.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which one? Where do you want to start?
Okay, so you wanted to see the arrangements again?
हेलो दीपा
हाँ जी.
हाँ मैं ना म्यूट कर रही हूँ बिकॉज मेरे मशीन्स बहुत चल रही हैं आई एम म्यूटिंग माई सेल्फ ओके
ठीक है. Okay.
So,
यू डू द थैंक्सगिविंग
this is the mushroom showing the strength of character and our own strength to be able to go through all hardships, all the ups and downs. This is where I started with saying that this was we start alone, but then we are always joined in by family. The dry bleached fern and the oriental lily in a box which has been recycled box covered with fabric. These are the two kettles bringing us all together at the time of the pandemic. It has linked us together with this fishtail berry.
Super.
Then again, this is to show that we have our problems which are in little knots in our mind, but we have to come out of it and see peace at the end. So the green, yellow, the white lagostromia all complement our thoughts. This is to show that, despite the problems, the retardation in our growth, in the growth of the plant, there's still hope. And you can survive and you can do very well. This is the coral garden which I've made, trying to show the seascape and plants which rejuvenate us with our thought processes. And when you put them back in the ground, they are new plants again. So it's not that you just cut and throw them. You replant them, reuse them. This is the continuous basket which links us all together in this time of pandemic. So FSN has done that beautifully for us, and so have many Ikebana, Bonsai, and other societies. It has been an absolute pleasure during this time. In fact, sometimes there are so many meetings clashing with each other that you have to see them after the show. You can't see everything the same day.
So true. Amrita ji, there's a question. How do you bleach ferns?
How do I bleach? Well, this is Japanese, but I believe there is a technique about bleaching. I've never done it myself, Deepa.
Okay. So we can Google it and probably find some information.
Yes, it would be wonderful because we do have the ferns which we should, if we can bleach, it would be so nice to be able to do that. This
Thank
is
you.
the landscape. This is the landscape arrangement, the signature arrangement of O'Hara School. And also this is where we contemplate and decide that no, we are not alone. We have everyone together. And so this is where we are all linked together in this arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Amrita ji, once again on behalf of everybody attending this today. Recording will be available, I think, by tomorrow or day after. I'll share it with you. And for others, it will go on the YouTube as we set up our channel. And thanks once again.
I want to say special thanks to Padmini because she's shared some material with me. The succulent, the aloe vera, the pink exora. So thank you very much. It made it so much easier. Somehow or the other, she knew what I would like to use. Because this is what
thanks to you, Padmini. Thanks to you, Padmini has also appeared on the scene today. And so is Zoya there. Bye.
So
thanks once again. Thank you. Bye. 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 Vandana, let's close the meeting. Yeah. Manju ji, namaste. Bye.